how would you get kids to want to play a war game? How would you make it appealing to them?
I probably wouldn't try and play a war game with kids unless it was a war game like Necromolds. Okay. Necromolds is a Play-Doh war game.
Right.
And you're taking little Play-Doh monsters against each other, and you get to smash them when they die. So
yeah.
So but otherwise, I would generally probably avoid trying to get a kid into a war game. Mm-hmm. There might be another exception or two if I spent time thinking about it, but really, if I wanted to get a kid into a war game, I would instead get them into a tabletop RPG that is like a war game and transition it to a war game mode.
Well, so how young is too young to start playing a war game?
I saw some kids at the game store that we go to. Mm-hmm. They were probably 11 or 12, and they had their own Star Wars Legion armies.
Okay.
And they were, one kid was basically laying down at the table because it was nap time. Like, they were playing though. Like, they were actually, they'd painted them, and I was looking at them. I was like, dude, you painted this? Is cool. And they knew how the game worked, and they understood the rules, and it was just the two of them. Like, I don't know, maybe their dad taught them, and he just wasn't there. Like, I didn't get the full story. Mm-hmm. I started playing Marvel Crisis Protocol with Bishop when he was like 12 and a half, maybe 13.
Really?
I think it was 12 and a half. It was about 2.5 years ago that we started playing it. Mm-hmm. I would say between 10 and 15. Anytime between 10 and 15, a kid could get into a war game. I mean, like, if a kid is watching, YouTube content that is like Warhammer stuff, like if they're watching Warhammer lore stories or whatever, and I would understand any modern Gen Alpha kid being interested in Warhammer. It's a very dystopian, very grimdark universe. It probably feels like real life,
Yes.
It's like the Emperor of Man will free me.
Right.
What?
It's like everything's the worst.
Everything is the worst, right?
Yeah,
Yes, all these characters are the worst. So I can understand a lot of kids being into Warhammer. Warhammer is a big popular game. Once you kind of go, hey, this lore is kind of cool. There's a game adjacent to this? Yeah, okay, let me try that, right? And the fact that the game plays in a similar way to the story content, that's okay. So I guess that's another answer. Like, if I really wanted to get a kid into a war game and I thought that they'd be into Warhammer, I probably would just plug them into some Warhammer lore. The problem with the Warhammer lore is it is rather mature. It's like it's not just grimdark. It's like Space Marines being torn apart by Slaanesh for eternity. That's
from what we were talking about earlier. You were talking about the lore, and when the way you were describing the lore to war games, and you brought up Warhammer, it made me very excited about. Well, just the possible the reasons for certain armies, like the Space Marines and the Chaotic Marines. Is that
Chaos Marines?
The Chaos Marines.
Yeah.
And how they believe in the God of Man, but then they know that the God of Man is really evil, and they're destined to go to hell and get ripped apart and tortured, and all these things. It's just kind of like, whoa, that's crazy interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
It kind of got me wanting to know more about this world.
There you go. Yeah.
So
that's how you get someone interested in a war game is the story. Right. And to go back to my original answer, I would probably use a tabletop RPG. And let's say for instance, I want to get someone interested in the Star Wars Legion war game. Right?
Okay.
Like, I want to get them into the Star Wars Legion war game, but I know that there's a lot of complexity, right? There's a lot of front-loaded information. What I probably would do is take the Luke Skywalker card individually on its own, and I'd set up a small skirmish situation and have each of the players I was trying to teach just be one character. Here's Luke Skywalker, here's Han Solo, here's Princess Leia, here's R2-D2. Let's go, right? And I forgot Chewie. Okay, here's Chewie, all right? Let's go. There's 3 stormtroopers you guys are fighting against. And I would just teach the mechanics in the story, and I'd go like, I would tell the story. They're trying to do this thing at this time, and oh no, the Empire found out, and they're gonna stop you, right? And I'd even play the music in the background, like dun 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 dun, and let the kids really get into it. and then just play out like an RPG version of the war game. And let them, and at that point, I wouldn't even really care that much about the rules, so long as they were rolling the correct dice and looking at the cards to see if they can do a thing. If a kid was like, can I knock this tree over? Again, I'd play it like a tabletop RPG, and I'd go, let's roll a strength check, or let's roll whatever's on this card. Let's roll a combat check against that tree. Let's see if you're able to. Oh, you got 2 successes. Cool, you got it, right? Like I would just extrapolate the rules.
Okay.
But once I get them looking at the card and reading and understanding it, I now know that they're capable of understanding the mechanics. Now we just need to make the story escalate a little bit, right? Hey, sorry, it's an AT-AT walker. Like, what are we going to do to take out that? We got to bring some more rebels with us to take out this AT-AT walker,
You'd
right?
slowly pile on more and more as
until eventually, you're right. Yes, I pile on more and more until eventually it was. There's 3 of you or 4 of you guys playing. You're controlling 5 guys, you're controlling 5 guys, and you're controlling 5 guys, and let's all take out this AT-AT together. At some point, they now know the mechanics of how to work their main dude that they were playing as, and a few lower ones. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition has nearly as much complexity in one character as a wargame roster. If I was looking at Marvel Crisis Protocol and I had my 5 character team, there's a lot of complexity across these cards. And then there's complexity in the, this mechanic works with this mechanic, and sometimes this one looks for that one. There's all this crossover stuff. But there's the same in Dungeons and Dragons. That character is about to do a thing. Oh, wait, I feel like I had a thing that responds to that. Wait, I have a reaction that is a spell that silvery barbs them and they can no longer do that thing. It's like, the complexity is just hopefully diminished by the fact that you've been playing this character for 5 or 10 or 15 sessions, and now you know them. That's just like a war game.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying, it's intimidating to start these games without having any experience, and I can say that as someone who's done that.
You're talking about tabletop RPGs?
Tabletop RPGs,
okay.
Even the war games. When I tried to learn Warcrow with you guys, I thought the lore was really interesting, and so I started to read more on that and realized that the function that I wanted was not out yet. And
because you want the dwarves.
The dwarves, yes.
Okay.
Anyway, so you're saying like someone who comes into it super intimidated, not knowing the different numbers and like their strengths and what the different die that they have to roll and stuff like that. You're saying that they just need to stick with it for a few sessions and eventually it will become better, more comfortable for them. Like, because I like your idea. Okay, so I like your idea with kids, and I almost think that that's a good way to introduce new players that are not necessarily kids. Like me, for example. I think dumbing down the
rule set
would have helped me a lot and helped me be a little more comfortable to
You're
slowly
in Warcrow
or even tabletop RPG.
Even
like even when we started playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Like, because when I was like, okay, I'm this elf and these are the spells that I can have because I'm this level. And then I have to gain this experience to buy it. It just became very overwhelming. And
why do you think so many people are playing Shadow Dark? And very simple, I don't want to say like pedantry, but it's simple and uncomplex.
So could you use that as an introductory game to teaching kids how to play? Like,
no, because I want a positive outcome.
What do you mean?
I want a positive outcome. I want this kid to want to play this thing.
Okay.
And Shadow Dark is, it's a means to an end, right? It's, I can use it. I can essentially play the anything you want happens game with the kid. And I know that is an inroad to getting the kid to play this game with me, and perhaps later it's an inroad to get him to play a war game or something, right? Like that is an avenue and a path. There's so much of the game that is designed with the function in mind that the game master will say, yes, that works, no, that doesn't work. I am the judge and the arbitrator of these moment-to-moment interactions. I am determining the difficulty class in the moment. They are the game master is God and runs this thing. And the thing is, that's actually not a great system to use to get kids into it, because in reality, what you're competing with is Roblox. You're competing with Fortnite. You're competing with very complex, multi-dimensional game systems that these kids already have in their mind. They can deal with complexity. They just can't deal with abstraction. They need that thing literally put in front of them in a way that they can understand, something maybe tangible. Playing in let's play make-believe, and every so often I have you roll the dice, is a good way to get them to be able to participate, but in actuality, they need to see depth and complexity, and they need to find those connected systems, because the kids of today, the Gen Alpha kids, they're highly intricate in their design understanding. I know that I can take this aspect with me from this version of Roblox to another version, but I can't take this thing. This is a currency that exists here. This is a currency that exists. They have all sorts of complex understanding. These clothes are locked into this game. These clothes work in this game, right? These are items I can take here and there. This game allows me, they know how to look at a library of 1,000, 10,000 different games, more than that, millions of different games, and figure out the ones they're interested in based on the mechanics of that game. Okay. Sometimes within minutes, they know they want to play that game. If I was to take them into something empty and devoid of mechanics like Shadow Dark, I would sort of be shooting myself in the foot for the long-term goal that I have. And the long-term goal that I have would be, I want this to be more interesting than Roblox. I want this to be more interesting than a video game to you. And the only way I can actually keep that up in the long term with something like Shadow Dark is by pretending there's more depth than there is. Or possibly modding the hell out of that thing forever and just going let's keep throwing stuff into that. In actuality, no, I wouldn't do that. I would play something like Warhammer Fantasy or Call of Cthulhu or something that's like a D100 system where I don't have to cheat to balance things. But still, something that actually has complexity, depth, that has a grounding lore that I can trickle into the story. I would find something that was complex and try and make it simple, as opposed to find something simple and then try and make it complex.
Right. Just kind of simplify. Just simplify it, make it on a simple level for them.
You can take Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and you can take a level 0 character and play that complex game with level 0. You can take, Warhammer Fantasy and take a basic idea of a character that rolls on a D100 system and make it easy. It's not hard to make a complex game easy. You just have to think about what the steps are you're trying to remove.
Okay. And then what about those kids who don't have, I'm not going to say don't have imagination, but...
No, there's lots of kids who don't have imagination.
They struggle with that.
That's why I focus so much on making this crap, because... Very cool. I don't know, it's probably not going to be in focus, but I make this stuff because I recognize the kids, the audience that I'm trying to reach is video game addled. They are ingrained in video game, and the way you make a tabletop RPG like a video game is not by taking the level design aspects away, it's by creating them. You try to lean into level design. Initially, we started on one of those old Chessex mats, just drawing out little patterns and trying to imagine the walls of the cave, and that worked fine. And then we started using some MDF terrain, and now I'm building these things. But something like this is very useful for someone who either struggles with imagination or who's had a slipstream of media inform them about the world. There's probably plenty of people who are in their 50s and 60s who don't need this type of thing. They don't struggle with aphantasia. They're able to imagine a crisp apple in their right hand right now. That's great. Those people are not who I'm trying to play games with. I'm trying to play games with the people who don't have the ability to do that. And I think the solution is making physical terrain. It doesn't have to be wildly complex. It doesn't have to be super expensive. It can be cheap MDF. It could be cardboard. This house works perfectly fine. That's really and something that basically allows the person to go, oh, I see there's a window on that thing. I'm going to climb up to that window and see if I can get from the window onto the roof. Right? It gives them a necessary like the missing steps in order to play out that story.
It also helps with playing with other people, because if you don't have any kind of terrain or any kind of buildings about, the building in your head could be very different than the building in someone else's head. And so you could be like, I'm going to climb this window. Then I was like, oh, I guess there's a window in the building.
There you go.
I didn't hear that,
Yeah.
you know?
And you're right. That does ground some of the world building in such a way that people are now able to play cooperatively off the story. But in actuality, tabletop RPGs are really fun. They're very dynamic. They're very engaging when people are cooperatively doing things to support each other. Oh, while you're casting that thing, I'm going to lift you up high and hold you up here so that you can whatever.
You get a better view, a better aim.
Yeah, and I think terrain and physical interactive pieces are very helpful for either people new to the games or kids or people like I don't even know if I'd say people who just have a lack of imagination. This makes me want to kill monsters on this little green valley, right? Like this type of thing makes me want to get a guy up here on this perch, sniping people coming along. Yeah, it's like it flavors some of the story, and it also helps you to kind of like imagine yourself in that place.
It's like playing Barbies.
Yes, don't say that though. It's like playing GI Joes.
But you know what I mean. You actually have the figures, and you have the car and the buildings and the doctor's office and all that stuff, and you can actually physically make your characters do the things that you want them to do. It just helps. It helps a lot. Even if you have you're right. Even if you have a great imagination, it helps for other people to see what you are doing, to physically see your character moving around, so that they can be like, okay, I have an idea. We're thinking on the same
now
page.
I can picture where you're at, and now I can actually strategize based on where you are.
Right.
I think playing in a physical place on a table is not essential, and it's especially not essential when you're in stages of a TTRPG where you're negotiating a trade contract or something.
Sure.
But when it comes down to we're trying to sneak into this village to take out the robber baron, it's cool to have the village there. And I think that's So back to your original thing, which is like, how do you help someone who has a hard time imagining things?
Kids.
Like kids specifically. How do you help those kids who are struggling to imagine things? I think you make some kind of physical thing, and it doesn't require fancy terrain. Right. You can do it. We started it with boxes. We started with cardboard boxes, right? And I put like little cardboard bridges across the cardboard boxes. And
we were using toilet paper rolls as like tunnels and just things around the house that could be anything.
Right. We made a whole little city in that one D&D campaign that had little catwalks and all sorts of stuff. And I think I don't remember what our main bad guy was, but it was not a dragon or a mech the way it was supposed to be. It was
No. Okay, so you're saying and that makes sense. Getting kids to want to play war games or even TTRPGs, you want to make it enticing for them by talking about the story, the lore, maybe. The lore, and then trying to make it so that they want to be a part of that world and kind of see it for themselves, and also show them the toys.
Yeah, I think having a story that is grounded, that is not simply made up on the moment, but that is grounded in some way with some plot ideas in mind is probably helpful. You can just start telling an and then random encounter story with a kid, and it might work out well.
Sure,
but it will be far more memorable when as the GM or something that there is a plot twist coming up here, and some of these other secret elements, and they're not subversive, they're not sprung at the last moment, and they're not like just made up on the spot. I think to get someone to play a war game, I'd play a TTRPG or some version of a TTRPG war game. To get someone to play a TTRPG, I'd focus on the story elements, probably some survival. Like zombies are coming at you, boom, go, right? Like I would do none of this tavern. Right. I would launch you into the middle of the action, right?
That way, that the one thing you need to do is survive.
You just need to run.
That is your goal. That is your goal. You don't have to think about talking to people. You just have to survive. Yeah, exactly.
And get you launched out. And I would run it with some kind of physical terrain. Hey, we got 3-4 kids that are going to be starting this thing brand new. Here is the arena. You are in the gladiatorial combat. Boom, the cage is opening. What's your weapon? You know, and they're going picking this weapon, pick this weapon. So once one kid says a word like "What are we doing?" or something, and another one goes, "Quick, let's get behind this thing," they're now playing. And not only are they playing a war game and a tabletop RPG at the same time, they're ready for more complexity to be thrown at them. You know, they're ready for skill checks and for more mechanics and additional things. And that's where I can actually start revealing a character sheet and go, here is what informs you what you're able to do. You know, here are your skills, roll them and look at them, see if you can compare your numbers, you know.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me.
Yeah, did I answer your question? We went around some circles.
No, you absolutely answered my
All right.
question. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
I'm Lex, and this is
I'm Nate.
We are Tabletop Family Games, and
That is not our name.
What?
Family Tabletop. That's like someday. Wait, is it Tabletop Family? Might be Tabletop Family. Okay, we don't apparently know the name of the channel. God bless you. Thanks for watching. If you have thoughts or ideas or questions that you're interested in us engaging with, or something that you want to pique Lex's interest into war games or TTRPGs, or there's a system you want us to look at, post it down in the comments. Yeah. And if you disagree with any of my hot takes about Shadow Dark or Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, let me know. I love arguing with people.
No, he likes to have conversations with people.
I love having conversations and arguments. And feel free to join my Discord. There is a link down below in the About section, or actually up above in the About section. If you want to join there, we have conversations about tabletop RPGs all the time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching.
God bless you. Have a good day.